Olivia is the senior beauty editor at Byrdie, and she is known for elevating stories that reflect the diversity and richness of this beauty community. She is also the founder of The Hue Report, a podcast dedicated to celebrating Black beauty 24/7, 365. And her passion for storytelling and inclusion, Olivia continues to influence how we see and celebrate beauty today. And welcoming to the stage, Olivia Hancock. So happy to have you.
Hey, happy Wednesday. So happy to be here. Hey, y'all. So, welcome to Behind the Brands and the Stories They Tell. As Amani said, I'm Olivia Hancock, and I'm so excited to be hosting this masterclass with you all. So, a little bit about me. I'm a beauty journalist and editor. I fell in love with writing and reading. Growing up in Connecticut, I'd always be reading magazines. When my teacher said, write an essay, I was like, bet, let's do it. Just always loved writing and reading, and that early sparked turned into this media career that's been built on curiosity, creativity, commitment to highlighting the ever-evolving beauty landscape. Although I didn't know that I'd end up being a beauty editor, I definitely feel like it was what I was destined to do. As Amani said, I'm currently the senior beauty editor at Byrdie, and I spend my 9 to 5 covering the trends and products shaping beauty, reviewing all the products the girlies are talking about on TikTok. But most importantly, the thing that's core to my work is shining a spotlight on Black and Brown founders that are moving the industry forward. As a Black woman, that is the forefront, the crux, the everything of my work. And so in Birdie, I cover a lot of Black owned brands, but also started my own platform called The Hue Report in 2020, which is a multimedia platform dedicated to celebrating the Black beauty industry. We have a podcast, we have a LinkedIn newsletter, events will be coming in 2026, and it's just all another outlet for me to champion the founders who don't get as much shine as they deserve and just talking about their journeys and all the incredible work that they do. So, just a little moment to take it back to where it all began. Baby Olivia starting her job. In 2019, I started as an intern at Byrdie, actually, and interned in 2019, 2020. And then in 2021, when I was 21, I started as an associate editor and then have since worked my way up to senior beauty editor, just kind of climbing the ranks at the company. And so that's a little bit about my journey. But today we're going to be getting into trend talk, and how that shows up for me as a journalist, but how it can also show up for you in the work that you do, even if you don't work in beauty. So I think trends can be a little bit of a loaded word sometimes. You can feel like you don't want to chase trends, you don't want to follow trends, you feel like trends may not be applicable to you in your line of work. But I'm here to debunk that myth and talk about all the positive aspects of it, identifying trends. I think there are three key things here to think about as we talk through this session. Uh, one of the benefits is that you get to stay culturally and industry relevant. When you stay on top of trends, when you stay abreast of trends, when Daisha was saying, when you know what's happening in pop culture, it really helps you anticipate what audience will be caring about next. And that's, really important no matter what line of work you're doing, whether you're a journalist, whether you're working in tech, whether you're working in finance, whether you're working in the culinary arts, understanding what's happening around you and staying on top of that helps you understand where to go next and what to do next. Along with that, it just helps you create work that resonates more deeply. So you're crafting stories, campaigns, content that align with what your audience, your consumer, your reader is looking for, because you always want to be talking with them. You don't want to be talking at them. You want them to be a part of the conversation and feel like they are aligning with what you're talking about and you're aligning with what they care about. And I think also, too, from a selfish business perspective, understanding trends helps you understand where to put your resources. So you don't want to be doing something that no one cares about. You want to make sure that your resources, your time, your energy is going to things that are going to move the needle and gather attention. And at the end of the day, earn money for you and your company as well. So it's all about making smarter strategic decisions. So that's the lay of the land for why it's beneficial to identify trends. Keep that in mind as we navigate through this, because we're going to zoom in on how trends show up for me in the work that I do in the beauty industry and also how you can apply it to your work as well. So let's get into beauty talk. So whether you're familiar with, beauty talk, the beauty industry, you're a makeup girly or not, I think we can all agree that we've seen so many celebrities launch brands in the last 10 years. Fenty came out in 2017. We've had Sacred from Beyonce. We've had Tracy Ellis Ross launch Pattern, Taraji, Ariana Grande. The list goes on, Lady Gaga, the list goes on and on of celebrities who have entered their foot into the beauty industry. Some have launched really thoughtful, amazing brands that are here to stay for now and forever. And then we see some that don't really need to be in the market. And so, with that, there's a lot of conversation being had on threads, on Twitter, on Instagram about this exact thing. So many people are feeling that fatigue of the peak of celebrity brands. This one comment in particular says, "We don't need more celebrity brands. We need more makeup artist-led beauty brands." And that's a conversation that's happening a lot for me in the line of work that I do. People don't need any more celebrity beauty brands. We want more brands that are coming from the experts, that are informed, that are expert driven, that are educational, and so there's a shift happening in the industry right now. That's the trend that we're going to be talking about, unpacking and understanding what's happening in this conversation. So this campaign is launched by Sephora, and it's the perfect ideal response to this conversation we were just talking about on the last slide, the comments that we were seeing. So Sephora is, one of the largest beauty retailers, and clearly they're doing social listening. They're listening to what their consumers are saying. They're listening to what the market wants and understanding that their consumer, the people shopping these aisles, they're tired of the celebs. They're tired of the brands that are, giving nothing. They want people that they can trust for their makeup routines. And so earlier this year, they launched the Sephora Experts campaign, artists, experts, absolute legends that highlighted seven of their makeup artist led brands who are these amazing pros who have amazing products and will deliver results for you in your routine. So they launched this campaign. There were billboards in New York. There was so much imagery in the store. There was so much social content that flooded on the pages of these makeup artists on Sephora. And so I think this is a really beautiful campaign to look at. It may not have been their biggest splashiest, but I think it's so intentional and impactful because it showed that they were listening to what their consumer was saying. So, I think the measure of a good campaign is seeing the social response as well, as we were talking about. And so I got to see, if you look at here, we have a couple, Instagrams of people who are in the industry, who really kind of did an analysis of what this campaign meant and how it responded to the current social climate in beauty. And so I think it's really important to see how a brand responds to what's happening online. And this is the prime example of that. We're going to dive a little bit deeper and talk about Danessa Myricks, who was featured in this campaign, and do a little case study of how I would approach her work in my work. So she launched earlier this year her Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm Setting Spray, which is a mouthful in itself, but it's such a bomb product. If you haven't tried it, you need to try it. And so when I was seeing a new launch, because if you saw my inbox, I think I have like 14,000 emails of new products, new events, all the things happening. But of course, when I saw an email about her product, it stood out to me because she's known to be an innovator. She's a makeup artist, she's a photographer, she's just an innovative beauty expert. And with her brand, it's products you can trust and that they're going to be disruptive to the market. So when I saw she was launching the setting spray, sorry guys, I approached it from a three-prong approach to understand what trend was happening here and why it matters. So in the landscape of setting sprays, there's so many on the market. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of setting sprays. But I start there to understand what her perspective is, what the bigger picture is happening, and if I'm looking at a true innovation, something that's an evolution, or something that's a simple amplification of a trend. In this case, I understood that her product was very disruptive. This is like a setting powder in a spray. There's nothing really like it on the market. And so I knew that that was something that was very interesting to me, that she's starting a new trend in the industry. I then go to unpack her why. Why did Danessa launch this? Why is this so important? And hearing her story behind it, she wanted to launch something that one was, friendly for people who have texture skin, oily skin, aging skin. She's someone who is going through menopause and aging and doesn't want to use powder on her skin to emphasize fine lines and textures. So that was her true why. She wanted something that could eliminate a step in your routine, which is something that is always, welcome to us as beauty girlies, like wanting to eliminate a step and just create something that's a one step fix. So that was understanding her why. And then for me as a beauty editor, it's understanding what the crowd is saying. What are people responding to this? How are people using it? How are people showing up online talking about this product? When it comes to a Danessa product, it's always a viral hit. If you guys have tried any of her other Yummy Skin products, you can't scroll through TikTok without seeing someone use something from Danessa in their routine. And the same was true for the setting spray. Once it launched, I saw so many people talking about the spray, doing those before and afters and seeing how it made how much it blurred their skin. And so from there, I saw truly that this was a trend forming, that this was a disruptive product. This is something that we had to talk about on Birdie, on the He Report, and just talk about why this is such a disruptive product. So that's always, my three-step approach when it comes to approaching trends in the beauty landscape. But, not all of us work in beauty, but this is something that you guys can do no matter what industry you're in to talk about how you can take the guesswork out of trend spotting and to understand if this is something that's truly a trend or something that's a fleeting moment. So when you're thinking about something, whether it be a product, a launch, something like that, ask yourself these questions. Think of the LIR approach. Think about the landscape. What is it interrupting or joining? Think about the intention behind it. Why did the brand or company create it? And think about the reaction. How are customers, peers, the market at large responding to whatever this is? When you ask yourself those questions, it can help you formulate if this is something worth investing your time, budget, resources, energy into, and you can go from there. And for me, there's a lot of tools that I use to assess whether something is a spiking trend or if it's something that we shouldn't put time and energy behind. Google Trends is a really easy free tool for you to type in keywords into and see when trends are spiking, where people are searching for something. For me, I do a lot of, data research on different brands and trends in the beauty industry. Statista, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a really wonderful resource that has so many market research and data studies that you can pour and pull from. And so you can have data points to include in your work to back up your trend search. And then Answer the Public is a new tool that I've been loving to use. And you can type in different keywords and brands in there and see what people are searching about it, see how many people are searching for it. So those are some tools that can help you when you're trying to take the guesswork out of trend spotting. And I would start there. Put those tools in your toolkit because they will really help you be able to formulate more data for backing up your trends. So let's get into the lessons I've learned as a journalist thus far. I think this journey has been so full of highs and lows, so many lessons that I've learned. But I think the biggest thing that I've learned and things that are so applicable to this trend conversation is that your point of view is your power when it comes to trends. There's so much happening in the beauty landscape or just in any industry at large, but putting your own stamp, your own flavor on it is how you make sure that you're adding to the conversation in a very meaningful, smart, thoughtful way and not just adding fluff to the conversation. So for me, I'm always thinking about what is the Olivia point of view on this particular topic or launch? What are the words that I say in my vocabulary that I can insert here to make this my own? It's all about making sure you never shrink your perspective to fit in to something. It's all about adding your own culture and flavor to it. I also think that curiosity is the biggest thing to keep no matter what stage of your career that you're in, making sure that you're always asking why, especially as it relates to trends. Asking the why behind it is so important. I think it's so important to stay informed. You need to ask questions when you're in these rooms. I often have the chance to talk to cosmetic chemists, to talk to marketers, to talk to people behind the brands. And I always hit them with so many questions because I want to understand. I don't ever want to just gloss over something and accept it for what is. I want to know why this happened, why you did this, why you launched it now. And I think with that, having range as a journalist, as a media professional is really the most important thing. Being able to, I think when I got into the industry, it was one of those things where I thought that, oh, writing was just going to be my job and, that's what it is. But I can tell you now that that is not the case at all. We're researchers, we're budget people, we're doing so many different things in this role, and we're content creators. We're doing so much and as a journalist in 2026. And so building your toolbox of all these skills is only going to make you a stronger person in the workforce. It's only going to add value to you as a professional. So being able to use these tools that I mentioned when it comes to researching trends, being able to sift through social to understand trends, it all is going to help you. But beyond that, I think the thing that really keeps you rooted and grounded no matter what your career throws at you is knowing that your why is your anchor. It's the thing that guides you no matter what stage of your career that you are. It's the reason that keeps you going. For me, like I said earlier, it's understanding and celebrating Black-owned brands because historically in the beauty industry, they haven't gotten as much love and shine as they deserve. And so for me, anytime that I get a chance to highlight someone like Danessa, someone who's innovating the industry, who hasn't gotten their shine, indie brands, um, anyone who hasn't gotten as much, attention in the industry, that's my why, my mission, what keeps me going, even on the toughest days when I feel like things are just crazy in beauty and media, especially right now. But that's the biggest thing. No matter what the assignment is, keeping your why is what's going to keep you rooted, grounded, and feeling purposeful. But with that, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this masterclass. I am so excited to chat with you guys more about marketing, beauty, media, all the things, and I'm here for all the questions.
That was amazing, Olivia. I want to thank you so much for sharing not only your journey with us, but giving us an insider's look into what it takes to actually go behind the brands.
Of
So
course.
I'd love to dive into a fire chat. We have about three audience questions. Are you
Yeah,
ready?
of course.
Okay, so someone wants to know if you could please discuss how you should stay ahead of trends and what to look forward to in the upcoming year.
Oh my goodness. Staying ahead of trends, I think for me, I love diving into reports that, Pinterest just released their Pinterest Predicts report. So for me, resources like that are super valuable in helping me shape my understanding of what's going to happen next year, what to look for. So I would say signing up, diving into those reports, signing up for the newsletters that someone like a Pinterest or these marketing platforms provide is really the biggest resource. And so I would say that's the biggest one. What to look for in 2026. There's so much happening and moving and shaking, I think, in the industry, but I'm excited to see all of the ways that like we are diversifying the content, like Substack, LinkedIn newsletters are booming, and I think there'll be a lot more happening in these independent platforms. I love seeing like different creators show up in that space. So I think I'm really excited to see how people keep transforming Substack, their newsletters, their independent platforms and podcasts. I think that's where a lot of things are going.
Beautiful. And from a podcaster's point of view, how do you pitch and retain your guests on your show, and how do you get noticed?
Mm. I think a lot of it is I, you know, it's a mix of things. Some of it is just cold emailing. Like we were saying, sometimes a cold email, you may think it may go that you might not get a response, but you'll be surprised. People love to talk about their journeys and share and give back. And especially when I was building the podcast, it was also at the time I was building my career. So sometimes those relationships weren't built or I didn't think that I would get the guests that I did. But I think cold emailing is one of those things where it really does work sometimes, y'all. LinkedIn is really a great platform and networking for reaching out as well. And so I think that's like the biggest source. But now a lot of my guests are people that I just love following on Instagram. I see cool creators all the time. Brands that I use, I try to reach out to them because I think it's like that organic love that I have for them. So people like a Danessa or, like people like that I use in my daily routine, I try to reach out there because I think it's a natural reflection of the podcast. But definitely cold emailing works, y'all.
I can definitely attend to that. Every single person on this panel, including Olivia, her wonderful workshop, all were code emails, by the way.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
last
Shoot your
question.
shot.
Hey, you never know. I always say, like, I don't want to tell myself no. I want them to tell me no.
Hmm.
And typically, like, when you have a solid vision, they support it.
Oh, absolutely. And even if it can be a not right now, but it's never usually a no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And last question, the beauty industry is extremely competitive right now. How do I pivot into an industry even though their current position is in media?
Mm. I think it's all about thinking about your transferable skills and where those will, there's so many jobs in beauty. There's editor, there's PR, there's talent bookers. We like within my company alone, there's so many people working on beauty but have different roles. And so I think it's about thinking about what you currently are doing right now and where that can translate. And I'd also say too, I always recommend, like I know the biggest thing if you are particularly looking to like work in beauty editing or beauty media, people always ask for clips, examples of work. Start create your own because even when people pitch me to like freelance write, if I see you have a Substack, if I see you have a newsletter, if I see you have a podcast, that's such valuable work in today's age. It doesn't have to be a byline on the biggest publication to break through. I just need to see that you know what you're talking about and know how to draft a product review, if you know how to draft a trend story, things like that. So if you feel like you're in a weird place right now where you don't have the bylines or something to pivot and transfer right now, start building it on your own and then pitch the editors, hey, I have this body of work. I launched this beauty Substack. I launched this beauty newsletter on LinkedIn. Here's my body of work. Because obviously we all need a chance and like a shot to break through. So if you have that body of work that you've created independently, just know that that does have value.
I would definitely agree with you, Olivia, because I'm big on portfolio. I
Hmm.
love if you just take the initiative. It doesn't have to be perfect, but having some level of like evidence and allowing yourself to have the space to experiment allows you to figure out what your point of view is and
Yeah,
allows other people to even see what you stand for. So I appreciate
exactly.
that, girl. That's great, wonderful advice. Well, thank you so much, Olivia, for joining us. How can the audience keep in touch with both you as well as your podcast?
Yes. So for me, I'm on LinkedIn at Olivia Hancock. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Olivia Hancock _. And then for the Hugh Report, you can follow us on thehughreport.com. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and then as well as Instagram at the Hugh Report.
Yes. Make sure you guys follow her. Make sure you reach out to her. She is so incredibly communicative. So I promise you she will respond and she's super nice offline too.
Oh,
So
thank you so
well,
much, girl.
thank you so much, Olivia, for joining us. We appreciate you so much and we can't wait to talk outside of these four walls. So see you
Yes.
later and you have a great day.
Thank you so much.